Joining me live now to discuss the humanitarian crisis on the ground is Kashif Shafique. He's the country director for Relief International, and he joins us live now from Port Sudan. Thank you so much for being with us. You know, I was actually going to start this conversation talking to you about the number of people in Sudan who have been displaced by this war, the fact that we know that the humanitarian crisis is so severe that there are so many people there on the brink of famine, the fact that one of the last remaining hospitals in El Fasher has been forced to close because of the violence. But during the commercial break, my producer got into my ear and told me that one of your ambulance workers who works for your charity was shot recently, which speaks so much about the sheer level of violence happening in the country. I first of all want to say I am so sorry for your loss, but what does that really say about what humanitarian workers are risking by going into Sudan at a time like this?
Thank you so much, Zain, for having me on this broadcast and this crucial topic as you started, that it's been unforgotten. And here we are going to talk about, and recently the tragic incident where one of the driver who was carrying on regular basis patients from the Zamzam to the Southern Hospital and saving their lives. And on the same day when he got the shot, he dropped one pregnant female, and while going back, he was shot in the chest. But unfortunately, after that, he was not able to get the intensive care. Eventually, the recent attack on Southern Hospital was devastating, which is not able to bring any sort of extensive care for him. Eventually, he was died day before. And on this tragic news, we as a Relief International and all the humanitarian actors are so much concerned on the situation overall in Sudan and specifically what's happening in Al-Fasher Maternity. The situation on ground is that people are rushing to seek refuge, but they don't have any idea where to go. One of the secondary hospital, the Southern Hospital, recently been targeted, and after that, the secondary level providing intensive care for the trauma care surgeries are completely out of function. And now SMOH and the local community, they are relying only to the basic health facilities to provide the extensive care.
Kashif, thank you, first of all, for joining us and for doing all of the brave work that you are doing for the people there. We know thousands have been killed over the past year. There's risk of even more famine and bloodshed in response directly to that attack at the hospital. At the time, it is reported the head of emergency of operations at Doctors Without Borders said at the time of the attack, there were 10 patients there and a reduced medical crew. And the fact that now this hospital may not be functioning and clearly is not safe speaks volumes about the threat to the innocent civilians there. Give us a sense of just the dire situation in terms of medical aid, medical assistance, hospitals, anything that you are doing to help provide for the suffering people there.
So Relief International is running around 40 plus health clinics down there in North Darfur. We have a track record working in the North Darfur from last over 15 years, providing critical health care. Now with this situation where the secondary care is completely collapsed and most of the people recently injuries, they able to get some sort of support in the Saudi hospital, but the condition of the Saudi hospital is that it can barely accommodate 10 or 20 people right now. And the SMOH or the local ministries on ground, they don't have the water, they don't have the fuel supplies. The ambulances which were recently taken by the conflicting parties, and they able to use the public transport, and due to the threat on ground, the public transporters are also not willing to medevac the people from one location to another. Considering that now all the injuries are being moved to the facilities like the Zamzam camp already having around 550,000 IDPs, and currently minimum number of the organization who left on ground providing this extensive support. And the Relief International is one of these organizations who is providing the critical health care. In addition to the collapse of the health structure, the malnutrition is going high day by day. What we are observing through the new screening recently, large number of new children being identified with the SAM and MAM cases, which is really concerning. The vendors, they are not able to bring in the food supplies into the city because the city is completely surrounded. And humanitarian actors, they are not able to bring down the humanitarian assistance. If this will continue another 2 or 3 weeks, I think we'll be seeing the famine cases on ground taking the lives.
You know, it is extremely tragic what is happening in Sudan, as we've talked about, just the sheer number of displaced people, the fact that the country's on the brink of famine, the number of children who have been displaced as well. But on a more sort of personal note, we again are deeply sorry for your loss. The fact that not only was one of your workers shot, but even after being shot, they were unable to get the help that they needed in order to survive. So that is a double tragedy. And once again, we are so sorry for your loss on that front, and also to his family members as well. Kashif Shafique, thank you so much for being with us.